Hi, my name's Polymath, and I recently found out a way to win a game of Magic the Gathering before the game starts. It requires a very specific setup, but it will deal 24 damage to your opponent before the game starts. I'll be talking about the combo involved, how viable it is, and what drawbacks there are to using it. This is the first of a series I'm calling Breaking the Game, and there's going to be a second video, but it'll come out eventually when I finish editing it. The actual combo looks like this. Your opening hand has 7 cards in it. 4 of them need to be these specific cards. 1 Gemstone Caverns, 1 Simian Spirit Guide, 1 Flash, and 1 Protean Hulk. Your deck also needs to have 4 copies of the card Ornithopter in it, 4 Memnites, 3 Disciple of the Vaults, or Disciples of the Vault. Actually, I'm not sure how to say that. And 1 Viscera Seer. You also need to make sure you play second, like the other person. Your opponent gets to draw and play first. And once you have all these things confirmed, the combo looks like this. You play Gemstone Caverns before the game starts, and if it's in your starting hand and you're playing second, it can start on the battlefield, before your opponent takes a turn while they're shuffling in theory. I can have it start on the battlefield with a luck counter if I exile a card from my hand. And I can have it, I can also tap the land for any color of mana if I have the luck counter. So I would exile the card Simian Spirit Guide from my hand. Simian Spirit Guide, when exiled from your hand, gives you 1 mana of the color red. Now I tap Gemstone Caverns for 1 blue mana using that luck counter. And now I have 1 blue mana and 1 red mana. I now play Flash. Flash allows me to put any creature from my hand onto the battlefield and then immediately sacrifice it unless I pay a certain mana cost. I'd put Protean Hulk onto the battlefield, and then I'd let it sacrifice itself. When it sacrifices itself, I get to look through my library for a bunch of creatures whose mana cost adds up to 6 or less. I would choose 4 Ornithopters, 4 Memnites, 3 Disciples of the Vault, and that 1 Viscera Seer. Now all of these are on the battlefield, and their mana costs do add up to less than 6. I use the Viscera Seer's ability to sacrifice a creature without tapping on the Viscera Seer, meaning it can sacrifice all of these creatures if it wanted. I sacrificed the 4 Ornithopters and the 4 Memnites. The 3 Disciples of the Vaults on the battlefield will have their ability triggered 8 times each, which is why I brought out 3 of them. This damages the opponent once for every creature I just sacrificed 3 times, so it's 3 damage per creature sacrificed. And I just sacrificed 8 creatures, so I get 24 damage, which will one-shot your opponent. Now let's talk about why this isn't such a great combo. First of all, it's very specific, so the odds of pulling this off are pretty low. You can have up to 4 copies of every card you need in your original hand for the best odds. Again, your hand needs to look like this. Gemstone Caverns, Simian Spirit Guide, Flash, Protean Hulk, 3 random cards. Now it's time for some math. If you have a 60 card deck and you need to draw 4 specific cards, plus 3 other cards, you have 7,096,320 different ways to draw those 4 cards in your opening hand of 7. However, if you do the math, there's 386,206,920 ways to draw those 7 cards from a 60 card deck. So if you do the math and divide those two, you have a 0.018374% chance of success raw, or that translates to 1.8374% chance. Remember, this requires you to have 4 Gemstone Caverns, 4 Simian Spirit Guides, 4 Flashes, 4 Protean Hulks, 4 Ornithopters, 4 Memnites, 3 Disciples of the Vault, and a Viscera Seer for those odds. And the cost of all these cards combined is $173.60. One thing I'm kind of confused about is why Memnite is so much more expensive than Ornithopter. They're the same cost, same everything. I don't get it. Now I'm going to talk about the legality of this combo. I actually have a sort of issue with the Magic the Gathering rules. since it gets longer and longer every year, and now it's up to like 250 something pages and like 900 rules. But 900 rules is not the actual number. For example, rule 103 is about how to start the game. It's technically one rule, but inside this one rule, notice I'm making air quotations even though you can't see it. It has rulings 103.1 through 103.7 involved. Also, there's rules 103.3a through 103.e. In total, there's 29 different ways to interpret this rule, and that's one rule. Anyway, back to the video. The card Flash is only legal for Vintage if you only count the competition formats. So if you wanted to bring this into a competition, it would only be legal in a Vintage game. However, if I'm being completely honest, there's much better ways to win a game of Vintage where everything is legal pretty much. And instead of trying to turn 0 kill, you can turn 1 kill. And it's going to be way more consistent than 1.8%, since you can use like the Power 9 and yeah, basically Vintage is a hard format to play. Anyway, Flash is restricted, so you can't even have 4 copies. You can only use 1 copy. So that lowers your odds even more. However, there's still hope for this deck. There's more formats than just the competition formats. I went over all this in the formats video I made. I'm gonna figure out how to put it into the top right eventually. This combo is completely legal in the casual formats. So if you're willing to spend $200, you can just bamboozle your opponent like 1.8374% of the time if you're playing like as casually as possible with like a friend. However, remember this: if you have like about less than 2% chance of this working, then there's like 98% chance of it not working. And this combo takes 28 cards up out of your 60 card deck, and they're all going to be useless if the combo doesn't work like immediately. So you're going to lose pretty much. Anyway, thank you for watching, and please subscribe because editing this video took a while. Bye. Episode 2 is coming out someday, I swear.